Which 110 here? This is part of my mess. I got stuff I have to go through here. I wanted to reorganize this tonight, but my knee, I don't know what I did to it. But sometimes it feels really tight, and other times I'm okay. Thought I would show you some of my Bridget's crosses that I've made. You may know them more as God's eyes, but in our realm, it's Bridget's crosses, which would be made right now with embolic. Starts tomorrow evening until the 2nd. Actually, I could tell you about that too. Oy. Christmas color one. As you can see, once I start making something, I just go nuts. And I just keep making it and making it. So, I guess I could tell you about that. Just going to my notes. Umbilic. January 31st, February 2nd. It is also known as Bridget's Day, a festival to mark the midway of winter and the beginning of spring. This is a time Bridget's crosses are made, as well as Bridget dolls, which I've never tried to make. Bridget's cross is hung on a wall or door for protection and blessings of the home. In the secular world, this is known as God's eye. This is the onset of lambing season. If the ewes are lactating, it meant milk, cheese, and butter. This was good news back then if winter supplies hadn't been sufficient. In Ireland, a member of the family would circle the house 3 times, representing Bridget. They would ask to be let in. The 3rd time, they would be welcomed in. The family member who was going around the home would carry rushes. Once coming inside, a meal would be eaten, and the rushes would be made into a bed or crosses. People would leave clothes or cloth outside to be blessed by Bridget. They would also rake smooth ashes from the fire. In the smooth ashes, they hoped to see a mark telling them that Bridget had visited. Clothes or cloth were brought inside in the morning. They are now believed to have healing and protective powers. My hands are so dry. This is a Scottish Gaelic proverb. They had it in Gaelic, but I don't know how to read Gaelic. And I've heard it's extremely difficult. The serpent will come from the hole on the brown day of bride, though there should be 3 feet of snow on the flat surface of the ground. And that was the proverb. Now the crone gathers firewood for the remainder of winter. If she wishes winter to last longer, the day will be sunny. This way she will gather plenty of firewood. If the day is foul, her wood will not burn, bringing spring sooner. It is a time when new witches are initiated, and practicing witches rededicate themselves to their faith. So, that I thought you'd be interested in. Now tonight, I'm going to tell you about Kingston Penitentiary. It is on 8.6 hectares of land. It was constructed between 1833 and 1834. It opened June 1st, 1835, and closed in 2013, serving 178 years. After closing, public tours began. Some staff who worked there when it was a prison are placed throughout to share their information. Men, women, and children were kept here. The women were separated as they were a distraction. In 1934, a women's prison was built, having all the women go to there, so no more distraction. Every prisoner was given the same punishment, although women were flogged with garments on. They were given lashes with cat's o' nine tails, placed in a dark cell. They may also have been placed in a wooden box to stand for 6 to 9 hours. The box was made like a coffin. 6 prisoners were held at the pen when it first opened. It was known as Alcatraz of the North. Under the first warden, Henry Smith, more than 6,000 punishments were carried out. The youngest inmate was 8 years old. Inmates could not speak, gesture, or look at each other. Food was moldy and worm-infested. Meat often went bad in the summer. The warden allowed prisoners to eat from pigs' troughs to have energy to work. Wasn't he a sweetie? Inmate James Brown received 1,002 lashes with a cat o' nine tails, 216 rawhide, and any other the warden handed out. Eventually, he was deemed insane. Frank Smith, a kitchen worker and son of the first warden, was just as nasty. He would shoot at prisoners with a bow and arrow, throw potatoes at them, stick them with pins. He would spit and throw salt in the prisoner's mouth. As in most jails, the public was unaware of the goings-on. Until 1911, for a fee, a guard would give tours to the public so they could see the wonderful place. They would stare at the prisoners. Even with these tours, they had no concept of the bad conditions. The first reported spirit sighting was in 1897. 2 guards watched a prisoner leave one building to another, then back again. When ordered to halt, the subject turned, then disappeared. The apparition was that of convict George Huell, who had been shot and killed in 1896. He was shot in the head but continued to curse and threaten until he passed 5 hours later. He swore he would return from the grave. Bells in the hospital after seeing Huell's spirit. Several employees resigned, refusing to work in the place that was haunted. One guard on his first tour heard keys jangling in a locked cell block, unattainable to the public. Thinking it was another guide, he turned to see the shadow of a man behind the locked gate. The shadow walked along, then spun the keys in a lock on the cell door. The shadow continued to walk away. Upon telling a fellow employee, he was informed it was William Wentworth. Mr. Wentworth was the last guard to die at the Regional Treatment Center. He was stabbed to death in November 1961. Regional Treatment Center was the psychiatric hospital. His murderer was never caught. He is a pleasant spirit. He is seen by staff and tourists performing his duties. They claim his attempts to keep angry prisoner spirits in their cells. In a hallway to the courtyard, a glowing orb was seen by this same guide. Attempting to debunk it by moving an open door, he was unable to. Again, this was in the gated section. Passing by the orb, it stayed in place, but On the group's return, it was gone. There was a curiosity feeling about this orb in regards to the group. A tourist, he and his wife took a tour of the pen. They signed release papers and were taken to wait with others in the private family visitors room. As they waited for their guide, the room began to feel dark and tight, as he described it. A good story from a former warden, she told of a duck who made the pen her home. Inmates were protective of her. When it was time for Mum and Ducklings to leave, the security guard would open the door for them to do so. You wouldn't think of that, would you? Now the papers are stuck together. Come on. Okay. Now, this gentleman and his wife continued to tour the segregation range. Prisoners were locked in cells for 23 hours a day. The worst criminals were here. The public was not allowed in, even though the area is empty. The gentleman said he could sense an evil presence. Now, excuse me, Kingston Pen was designated a National Historic Site of Canada. Now, Charles Dickens, whom we were speaking about this evening at Misfits and Dreamers, visited the prison in 1842. He mentioned it in his book, American Notes. He thought it was excellently regulated. In 1923, Red Ryan, bank robber, escaped and was recaptured 3 months later, released on good behavior. However, during his liquor store holdup, he was shot and killed by police in 1936. So he was recaptured, and then 3 months later they released the guy on good behavior, and then he decides to hold up a liquor store. I don't know. In 1999, Tyrone William Kahn escaped. He was a bank robber. 2 weeks later, he accidentally shot himself in a standoff. Prison riots were in 1932. 1954, 900 inmates. They caused $2 million in damage. And in 1971, riot lasted for 4 days. The next one is the Jester's Court in Port Perry, Ontario. Original house was built in 1857 by Freemason James Good. In 1871, Dan Ireland turned the house into a hotel. In 1890s, the house was lost to a fire. In 1914, James Carnegie built the current home. He passed away in the house in 1921. 1997, the McGibneys bought the house and opened it as the Jester's Court. In 1883, a terrible fire broke out in the blacksmith's shop. Winds carried flames to the building close by. In 1884, a larger fire broke out. Heavier winds caused this fire to spread quickly. 50 businesses, factories, warehouses, stables, and homes were lost. The source of this fire was never found. A female bartender claims she has witnessed many events. Salt shakers moving across tables, paintings on the walls spinning, taps in the bathrooms that turn on themselves. It's said the stream of water will flow with anyone urinating. Isn't that lovely? I don't think I'll ever visit that place. Psychics and sensitives feel the presence of a young girl on the main staircase. She is also felt in the ladies' bathroom, and this was in March 2000. An older gentleman has been seen staring out a second-floor window with an angry look. The second floor was vacant at the time, and that was also in March 2000. In November 2008, a friend of the owner's son spoke of reports he had heard while working there in high school. A lady in blue walking into the bathroom, the woman's room being a spot difficult to keep warm. This gentleman's sister used the washroom and had an experience. She was in there alone. While in the stall, she had goosebumps. Leaving the stall, the door would not open. She said it was like someone was holding it shut. She called out twice to be let out. The second time, the door opened. A man from the kitchen was leaving for the evening after cleaning up. Just as he left the area, he heard noise from the kitchen. Upon stepping back in, he noticed that the pots that were hanging were swinging, and items he had put away were back on the counter. No one was there. No one was there. In August 2010, a woman and her friend having a meal used the bathroom before leaving. They both had goosebumps and felt as though they were being watched. After a walk downtown, they stopped at the restaurant again for the friend to use the bathroom. The woman in the car noticed a blind in the upper window moving. When the other woman came out, they both watched it go up and down. And again, that floor is empty. In the summer of 2009, a woman and her 10-year-old daughter were there having lunch. Her daughter needed to use the washroom. Upon entering the upstairs washroom, they noted how cold it was. It became colder when in the stalls. Leaving the room, her daughter said it was like they were in someone's private space. Her father suggested she tell the waitress. She responded that they must have met one of their ghosts. Just like, hey, you seen George. September 2013, a husband and wife were at the restaurant. Sitting between the window and the fireplace, he felt an energy shift, as if someone were sitting to his left. He had goosebumps. A few moments later, it shifted to the right side. When the energy left, he felt it brush the hair on the right side of his head. Going to the washroom, he felt a wave of energy on the stairs. He felt the washroom slightly cooler. His wife felt energy in the same spot on the stairs. He also felt energy on the landing coming down the stairs. He and his wife now visit haunted areas in Ontario. That's a little crazy. So I'm saving one that I will tell you, and I have it marked to remind me on my phone, for February 4th. That's the Black Donnellys, just a reminder. And on February 11th, Patrick James Wheeland. Those are the anniversaries on both of on Mr. Wheeland's hanging. And the other one, I believe, is on the family's death. So those will be two good ones. I'm going to have to look up some more. Book's getting a little thin here. As I tell you, I pulled them out of this book and I put them into my big binder I have. So anything that I have ever read to you is in that binder. So if I ever want to check something out, I can just go back in there. So isn't that cool? I probably got this at the Museum of Natural History. This is stuff I haven't even looked at in a long time. Crazy. Yee. This little guy. So cute. This is from Upper Canada Village. I know that. Without a doubt. This That's supposed to go up into there. How they used to play back in the day. I'm just checking stuff out here. Ah, this is where my parents used to live when they were alive. Wonderful place. Oh, Canada remembers. Past, the present, the future. Wow. And we did get these, or actually these were where we used to work. They had these. Pretty cool, eh? Uno. What's these? Oh, floors that my husband did. This is when he lived temporarily. He lived on the East Coast for a bit before he came back home to Ottawa. And this one was one of the buildings that we worked at. Beautiful work. Absolutely beautiful work. Little pin. It's amazing what you find when you start looking through stuff. Especially this. I haven't looked in here in a long time. Oh, I know what that belongs to. There's all sorts of stuff in here. This, I believe, we found somewhere. It has the clover, the horseshoe, which should be that way, and an elephant with his trunk up. Interesting. One of my horses with a foot missing and a tail. I probably have it somewhere to fix it. And of course I haven't fixed it. I'm so bad with stuff like that. Oh, that's fun. Oh, one of our photos that we took. Carleton University here every October has a butterfly exhibit. They allow you to go in and walk around. They have fruit there that you can hold, and the butterfly will come down onto the fruit. They'll land on your head, on your hat, on your glasses, on your hand, on your coat. It's best to get there early, so I hate to say it, but so all the bratty kids aren't there. The unfortunate thing is that I believe some of the butterflies, of course, don't make it through the entire time. I think it's just Thanksgiving weekend, or I'll have to look that up. But there's always something to do here. Always something to do. Now, I don't know if I'd ever mentioned this, but one last little tidbit. Nails. Focus. Old bent nails, good luck. I always keep them around. So that was your 2 stories for this evening, with a bit of history along with it. I'm glad that all my loyal subscribers have come back to check it out this evening. And welcome Nona to the family. Very, very glad to have you. For anybody else who's just passing through to check me out, please look at all the rest of my videos. Thumbs up if you like what you see. Comment. I will get back to you. Share out if you think anyone else would be interested. Consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. And I just realized hey, I need to clean. There's the tall glass finished. Looks nice. I should light it up though. Well, that's a long way down. I don't know. Hey, wrong end. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. What is that? Whoa. That's a little dark. I don't know. What do you think? It's okay, but I think I would stick with the other one. That was okay. It was just a trial. Just to try it. I'll definitely stick with the other. Well, this one here should turn out nice when I do it. But, whoa. Okay. So, good night, everyone. Have a restful rest of the evening. And have a great Thursday. Yeah. Fabulous. One step closer to Friday. So until tomorrow night, ciao for now.